Joshua versus Ngannou, live from Saudi Arabia on Friday, 8th of March, 2024. 3 words to describe this fight: non-stop action. Now, this fight has a lot of excitement around it, but it's mainly, and not, I wouldn't even say mainly, it's purely down to Ngannou's performance against Fury. Let's be real, that night, Ngannou embarrassed the sport of boxing. He came in as an MMA fighter, and he put an ass whooping on the number 1 ranked current lineal WBC heavyweight champion in the world. Not only did he knock him down, he beat him up the whole fight. And everyone's expectations in the world of boxing was for Fury to come in, play with Ngannou and knock him out when he wanted. But that wasn't the case. He was struggling. And in my opinion, he was just trying to not get knocked out. He was just trying to survive. And he ended up getting a decision, which is, you could argue it either way. But let's be real. In this fight as well with Joshua, Ngannou's not winning no points. He has to come out and he has to knock out AJ. Now, as well as this fight with Fury, everyone's looking at Joshua's mentality, stating that he's not as mentally strong as Ngannou. He's not there mentally. I agree with the fact that he may not be as mentally strong as Ngannou because, Ngannou's gone through a lot of things in life. But AJ is mentally strong. Joshua has faced his own demons. He's overcome them. Remember, he's someone who has constantly and consistently had pressure on him and expectations since winning the gold medal. He's an ambassador for our sport, generates a lot of money, changed boxers' lives, provided opportunities. Remember, he was the first one that fought in Saudi and they built a whole stadium just for him, And the guy's a fierce competitor. This was shown when he lost to Usyk the second time. Where his reaction, people may not have agreed with it and it was a bit awkward and maybe a bit embarrassing. He's human, Us humans, we go through things, Think about what he went through. This is 2 fights back to back. He trained his arse off, sacrificed a lot, And in that moment, the emotion overcame him. He's thinking, I let a lot of people down. I let myself down. So that for me showed that he's a fierce competitor. So I don't think AJ is mentally strong. I just feel like he's been struggling with his style, and that all came from the first Ruiz fight where he got knocked out. But look, he's come back from that fight. Thing about AJ as well is one thing you got to give the guy credit for is he fights anyone and everyone. He's not scared of anyone he will take on, and that's shown by his record. This guy has fought all the top contenders, barring Tyson Fury, and even some of them that he hasn't fought, he's fought them in the amateurs and beat them. The man, he wants all the smoke, let's be real. Now, Ngannou, on the other hand, is the man who had never had any expectation. Remember, this is a man who came from the sandmines, who was homeless, and then became the UFC heavyweight champion. Listen to that. That in itself is insane. Considering the guy started boxing at the age of 22, was persuaded to transition into MMA, and then he ended up going into the, toughest MMA organization that has the best fighters in the world. And where he had his ups and downs there, losing to Stipe and coming back, he didn't let that keep him down. He came back and he knocked out Stipe. Then, not only with that, he fought Cyril Gane in France, and that was the last fight of his contract. And everyone knew UFC wanted him to lose because they knew had he had won, he would have more power when it comes to negotiations, and they would kind of have to, forcefully give him what he wanted. Even with that, they offered him a multi-million payday, but rightfully so, he believes that, he's worth more than that. So whilst being the reigning champion, he left, took a risk, and look where he is now. The single fight against Fury made him more money than he's ever made in his entire UFC career. Big up Ngannou, and I wish he gets more and more paydays, and he has. This fight here is another massive payday for him. He deserves it all. Now, looking into the fight tactics, for AJ, for me, AJ has to box, but at the same time, he has to mix it up with powerful shots. And what I mean by that is he has to let the jab go, single jab, double jab, maybe throw a light 1-2. Then he can do something like throw a 1-2 and then get that powerful left hook in. And the reason why I say, kind of mask his power is because he needs to deter Ngannou from coming in. By just tapping Ngannou and just, slowly boxing him, Ngannou's going to come forward. The guy's got nothing to lose, So AJ needs to do that. He needs to box him, break him down, and he cannot afford to not throw hard punches because in my opinion, Ngannou only has a puncher's chance. By not throwing hard punches, you're going to give his puncher's chance an even greater chance, which for me is very, very possible because the guy, Ngannou, has crazy power and he can literally fold you in half. Like literally, we've seen this happen in the UFC. Now, Ngannou has to go in there and he has to beat Ngannou. He has to throw hard haymakers from awkward angle, walk AJ down. And like I said before, Ngannou's only chances of winning is by landing a haymaker. He cannot win him via a boxing match, and he knows this. And he has nothing to lose. So that's going to make him even more dangerous on top of his power. He's going to consistently and constantly come forward and throw those punches, hoping to land one. Now, in summary, I believe AJ's boxing ability will be too much. He will eventually stop and break down Ngannou. I'm predicting this to happen around 6 to 8. We also have to remember Ngannou has been hurt before. Stipe rocked him when he got careless, was throwing so many punches because he thought he had Stipe hurt. Stipe countered him, and that counter made Ngannou temporarily freeze. Now, I believe he was hurt or he was buzzed. As he froze, Stipe noticed this, came in to try and finish him, and that's when the beast Ngannou came out and slept him viciously. So, ultimately, Ngannou can be hurt. I believe AJ can knock him out, but I also believe Ngannou can knock out AJ with the power he has. But I'm sticking with my guns, and I believe boxing is going to come out on top, and I believe AJ is going to redeem the boxing world and knock out Ngannou around 6 to 8.